Hello, this is Tim. Excuse the lighting, it's late. Like I said, I have a lot going on. I wanted to read this earlier, a lot happening. Um, but I don't want to go a day without it. I try to do these every day, these readings. It's important. We need information, we need to know. And since that movie Between the World and Me, or not Between the World, is it Between the World and Me? The Ta-Nehisi Coates movie that he did from his book. Um, this is going to be the way people consume literature. Audio books are very big. So I want to do as many of these as I can while I can. I'm getting old, you know. So let's get into it. Incidents in the life of a slave girl, and I'm going to finish out this section. I long for someone to confide in. I would have given the world to have laid my head on my grandmother's faithful bosom and told her all my troubles. But Dr. Flint swore he would kill me if I was not as silent as the grave. Then, although my grandmother was all in all to me, I feared her as well as loved her. I had been accustomed to look up to her with a respect bordering open awe. I was very young and felt shamefaced about telling her such impure things, especially as I knew her to be very strict on the such subject. Moreover, she was a woman of a high spirit. She was usually very quiet in her demeanor, but if her indignation was once roused, it was not very easily quelled. I had been told that she once chased a white gentleman with a loaded pistol because he insulted one of her daughters. I dreaded the consequences of a violent outbreak, and both pride and fear kept me silent. But though I did not confide in my grandmother, and even evaded her vigilant watchfulness and inquiry, her presence in the neighborhood was some protection to me, though she had been a slave. Dr. Flint was afraid of her. He dreaded her scorching rebukes. Moreover, she was known and patronized by many people, and he did not wish to have his villainy made public. It was lucky for me that I did not live on a distant plantation, but in a town not so large that the inhabitants were ignorant of each other's affairs. But, as are the laws and customs in slaveholding community, the doctor, as a professional man, deemed it prudent to keep up some outward show of decency. Oh, what days and nights of fear and sorrow that man caused me! Reader, it is not to awaken sympathy for myself that I am telling you truthfully what I suffered in slavery. I do it to kindle a flame of compassion in your hearts for my sisters who are still in bondage, suffering as I once suffered. What's wrong with us having sympathy for her? I think we need more sympathy. I once saw two beautiful children playing together. One was a fair white child. The other was her slave, and also her sister. The raping and the it's ridiculous. When I saw them embracing each other and heard their joyous laughter, I turned sadly away from the lovely sight. I foresaw the inevitable blight that would fall on the little slave's heart. I knew how soon her laughter would be changed to sighs. The fair child grew up to be a still fairer woman. From childhood to womanhood, her pathway was blooming with flowers, and overarched by a sunny sky. Scarcely one day of her life had been clouded when the sun rose on her happy bridal morning. How had those years dealt with her slave sister, the little playmate of her childhood? She also was very beautiful, but the flowers and sunshine of love were not for her. She drank the cup of sin and shame and misery, whereof her persecuted race are compelled to drink. In view of these things, why are ye silent, ye free men and women of the North? Why do your tongues falter in maintenance of the right? Would that I had more ability, But my heart is so full and my pen is so weak. There are noble men and women who plead for us, striving to help those who cannot help themselves. God bless them. God give them strength and courage to go on. God bless those everywhere who are laboring to advance the cause of humanity. And I think we need to tell these stories. I think we need to understand that a lot of this stuff is still going on because even though we don't live on the plantation, if you look at the way cities and towns are made up with the white side and the black side, it still has that same dynamic. Black people are still completely dependent on white masters to a degree. Um, and sometimes it's because it's the way it's always been, mixed with we just have not developed, or I shouldn't say, we haven't developed an independent alternative in 50 years. We used to do it all the time. Whites would destroy it, we build it back. Whites would destroy it, we build it back. After they destroyed the Black Panthers, we just didn't build anything back. We just said, whatever they say, we'll do. They're miseducating our children to death, we'll let them do it. They're poisoning us with bad food, we'll let them do it. They're beating, they're raping, they're kidnapping, they're throwing us in cages, we'll just let them do it. And in return, most of us get the creature comforts most of the time. That's it. That's the deal. And I'm so glad in 2020 that's all broken and it's time for some new deals. And finally, those of us who have been screaming in the wilderness can be heard. I thank you for your support. Take care of your mind, take care of your body, and be safe.